Hey there, fellow wanderers. Tonight, imagine standing on the frost-kissed shores of a distant past, where the air is thick with salt and the thrill of the unknown. Your boots sink into wet sand as the northern wind nips at your cheeks. Before you, a fearsome Viking Drakkar rises against a darkening sky, its dragon head snarling, eager to slice through steel-grey waters. You climb aboard. The creak of wood, the heavy scent of tar, warrior's gruff, loud, sharpened by battle surround you. Some laugh, some pray, all prepare. This isn't mythology, this is history. And tonight, we set sail into a world built on blood, bone, and brine. You probably won't survive this. But if you're ready for something raw and real, like this video, subscribe, and leave your city, local time, and maybe even your spirit animal in the comments. Dim the lights. Let your fan hum like ocean wind through rigging. Let's begin. And remember, in medieval times, even survival was a luxury. Your initiation as a Viking begins immediately. As a greenhorn, eager eyes meet yours. The seasoned seafarers aren't sure what to make of you quite yet. Right now, you're just another possible liability. Your hands instinctively reach for the sturdy oar assigned to you. The slick wood is rough under your touch, worn smooth by previous hands that worked it tirelessly. It's all hands on deck, and you're expected to know the drill, so you quickly fall in line with the rest of the crew. Feel the daunting rhythm push, pull, glidier's bodies lean into the rowing motion, muscles singing in complaint with each coordinated stroke. It's a vital skill, rowing, one that can mean the difference between life and death out here on the open sea. It keeps the mighty Drakkar in motion, a crucial tool in the Vikings' many quests for conquest. Historians still argue whether the origins of these longships spring from the need for exploration or domination. But as you row, every sinew aching, their efficiency is unquestionable. The camaraderie is palpable, layered with a collective focus. You are one cog in a greater machine, and every successful heave strengthens a bond forged in sweat and brine. Yet, amid the camaraderie, sharp eyes watch for weakness. Smirks dance beneath full beards as whispers arise. Did that person flinch under pressure? Was that stroke a beat too late? Remember, here, even as you ride into unknown adventures, being caught slacking might mean you find your next meal harder to come by. A Viking warship is no place to daydream when survival demands your full attention. But it's not all trials and tribulations. Every now and then, a crescendo of laughter erupts, momentarily breaking through the grueling reality of hard labor. A seaman shares a joke, perhaps at the expense of their leader, cleverly skirting scandal with wit as sharp as their blades. Vikings valued humor, albeit often on the crude side, no doubt, inspired by countless days sailing through the grey waves, searching for a bit of sunlit reprieve. Beyond the sounds of laughter and rowing, the ethereal screech of seabirds echoes across the expansive stretch of ocean. They circle high above, skimming the curling waves that kiss the sides of your vessel. These winged companions, while often seen as mere nuisances, are critical telltales for land proximity, a living compass of sorts in an unpredictable world. As the horizon stretches endlessly ahead, your fingers start to grow numb against the oar. The cold seeps through harder, and you're reminded of just how real this all is. The forging spirit of those you now labor beside becomes palpable, their sinewy strength driven by years of surviving against the harsh elements. It's something you'll need to aspire to if you want to last, let alone thrive, amongst these Vikings. When dusk begins its descent, painting the sky in strokes of deep, brooding indigo, you'll find sweat carried away by the wind, a fleeting reminder of the day's effort that leaves grains of salt on your lips. The crew begins to settle, each reeking of weariness and resilience, in their eyes a glint of either hope or memory of past glories lost on the beating path of history. If you think you'll squeeze in a good night's sleep, think again. The whispers of the sea fill the void, and some will find solace in its embrace, while others, new like yourself, watch it with a mix of dread and intrigue. As your inaugural day draws to a close, reality sinks in deeper than the water below your ship living, as a Viking isn't for the faint of heart. It's a way of life far from modern comforts, where every action, stroke, and breath could determine your future. Whether fortune or peril awaits on the other side of tomorrow's horizon remains to be seen, but for now, you pull your cloak tighter, welcoming the dark embrace of night as the ship hums a lullaby of waves and wind. As you continue to adjust to life aboard the Viking warship, you quickly learn that there's more to surviving on the high seas than just physical endurance. The ship, much like a small village set adrift, operates within its own intricate hierarchy, a microcosm of the larger Norse society. Understanding this hierarchy is essential, not just for survival, but for finding your place within this tightly knit community. At the top stands the Jarl, the chieftain of the ship, whose authority derives from both noble birth and proven skill in battle. His presence exudes a commanding aura. Even from across the deck, you can feel the respect and fear he commands. The Jarl's word is law, and his keen eye misses nothing. A seasoned leader, he embodies the fierce independence and strategic cunning for which Vikings are renowned. Directly beneath the Jarl is his herdman, a retinue of loyal warriors who serve as both henchmen and trusted advisors. These men are seasoned fighters, earning their status through countless raids and battles. The herdman is the Jarl's inner circle, responsible for enforcing order and maintaining the morale of the crew. Their scars tell tales of victories and defeats written in blood and honor, a visual testament to their loyalty and skill. You, as a new recruit, fall into the lower echelons, the Carl, or free men, who form the backbone of the crew, tasked with rowing, maintenance, and any other menial labor required. Your role is pivotal. Without the Carl's tireless effort, the vessel would never leave the docks, let alone explore or conquer foreign lands. Despite this, the potential for upward mobility exists. A particularly brave deed or a spell of daring could elevate a Carl to higher ranks, fostering a fierce competitive spirit among you. In the shadows of this hierarchy lurk the thralls, the slave labor brought on board from conquered territories. While essential for the most grueling tasks, they exist on the fringes, lives determined by the whim of their Viking masters. Yet even among thralls, there's a flurry of silent, complex interactions, and hidden alliances. Some might even bargain their freedom with promises whispered in dim candlelight, or wagers made in hushed tones, though such promises are as slippery as the sea itself. Despite this stratification, the hierarchy aboard a Viking warship is not entirely rigid. Out here, strength, intellect, and charisma have a say in reordering positions. Legends tell of Carls who, through acts of bravery, earned their spot among the herdmen. Moreover, cunning merchants, emboldened by nautical adventures, sometimes ascend beyond status given at birth, finding themselves trading shields for coin, diplomacy, and alliances. But how does one navigate these social waters, where respect and reputation can shift with the slightest whisper? Here lies the heart of Viking society honor. To a Viking, honor is currency more valuable than gold. An insult, real or perceived, could lead to a bitter feud lasting generations, while a display of valor might win you allies when least expected. This is a culture where a single quip, a well-placed jest, or a shrewd negotiation can tilt the balance of power. Stand among the crew during evening gatherings where tales and boasts converge in a dance of camaraderie and rivalry. Many relish recounting old tales, victories against fierce enemies, or uncovering unexpected riches. Yet every story is a double-edged sword, revealing not just pride, but potential weaknesses. The herdmen watch, the Jarl listens, and alliances form and crumble as easily as waves crashing against the hull. Historians still argue whether this fluidity in Viking hierarchy is rooted in necessity or strategy. Was it simply a practical survival tactic in harsh conditions, or a reflection of deeper societal beliefs about fate and individual merit? On board this ship, you find yourself pondering which side of the scholarly debate you lean towards as you navigate this ancient yet strangely familiar world of shifting sands and endless possibilities. Every interaction teaches you something new about the subtle, unspoken rules at play. You learn how to walk the line between obedience and independence, to fulfill your duties while asserting your own identity in this world of iron wills and adventurous spirits. It's a delicate balance, where humility mingles with ambition, and survival hinges on the whims of those who sail with you. In this strange yet compelling community, The hierarchies that define the ship's operation are as crucial as the oars propelling it forward. As you grow more accustomed to the layered social dance around you, day by day, you become more than a distant observer. You start to claim your place within the story spec, within the wider tapestry of Norse seafaring culture, where history is written not only by kings and jarl, but by every voice that rises above the roaring sea. In your heart, the salty air kindles a flame of understanding that fosters connection and courage, essential keys to thriving under the dragon sails. As you become increasingly embedded in the life aboard the Viking warship, another layer of reality sets in, the relentless and demanding daily routine that forms the backbone of survival. Each day is a testament to endurance, reminding you that every oarstroke, every task accomplished, is a step closer to living another day in this brutal world. Your day begins long before the sun peaks over the horizon, when the ship is still shrouded in darkness. The Viking crew awakens from a fitful rest on the wooden planks, stiff muscles complaining as they find their oars. It's a morning ritual, devoid of the comforts we take for granted. There's no steaming coffee to rouse you, just the icy slap of seawater if you're too slow to rise. A murmur runs through the crew like an unspoken mantra. Another day, another test of will. The tasks, though monotonous, are essential. The ship must be ready for anything the unpredictable sea has to offer. You're no stranger to rowing by now, the rhythmic dance of muscle and wood shaping your day into a predictable pattern. With each coordinated pull, the ship lunges forward, cutting through waves with the serpent-like grace the Vikings are known for. Through all this, a sense of unity forms, not unlike a modern-day team, but without the luxury of easy escape or personal space. Cramped quarters breed camaraderie faster than you'd think, and the bonds forged here are often unbreakable, tempered by the shared experience of hardship. Yet, even as fatigue gnaws at your strength, the subtle hierarchy persists, underscoring who carries the most weight, both literally and figuratively. Like a linchpin thread in the fabric of a tapestry, roles must change as the day wears on. You might find yourself tasked with tending to the rigging, your hands becoming nimble over time, adept at handling ropes in the fierce northern winds. Or perhaps you'll find yourself on watch duty, eyes straining against the endless blue in search of new lands or potential threats. Surprisingly, these duties are not unlike clocking hours at a cubicle. Repetitive yet somehow comforting, each task offers its own tiny achievement as the hours slip by unnoticed. While some maintain the ship itself, others dedicate their time to strengthening their battle skills, honing axe swings with a precision that speaks of both necessity and pride. Every jab, every practice strike, carries with it the weight of centuries, whispering tales of long-forgotten battles and heroes who once wielded these weapons. There's camaraderie in this practice too, a shared sense of purpose and readiness that binds the crew. Amid the endless toil, music becomes a silent savior. The Skalds, or poets, with voices bold enough to carry above the wind, sing songs of heroes past and present, filling the air with melodies that weave Viking myth with reality. For a moment, the routine drifts away, swept along with tales of gods and giants, interludes that break the monotony and rekindle spirit. Yet a part of you wonders how the seafarers keep hope alive through such grueling routines. Historians still debate the psyche of Viking warriors. Did their beliefs and stories in realms like Valhalla give them solace, or was it something more pragmatic that fueled their fire? Here, aboard the ship, the lines between necessity and faith blur, becoming one and the same. Even downtime, a precious commodity aboard the warship, is fraught with its own form of madness. Instead of idle chatter, attention turns to maintaining equipment. The clatter of whetstones smoothing axe blades forms a percussive backdrop to life on board. It's a fierce reminder of the ever-present spectre of battle lurking just beyond the horizon you row toward relentlessly. Scattered between these duties are moments that might resonate with modern heartbeat husbands and fathers on board. Carve crude wooden toys or bracelets, tokens to bring back to loved ones waiting ashore. It's an unyielding balance of harsh labor and softer dreams, all buoyed by an unbroken tradition of endurance. As the sun sinks and shadows stretch long, evenings become the domain of stories and shared suppers, where preserved fish and coarse bread are consumed by calloused hands. Fatigue nipping at your heels, You cherish these moments, camaraderie suffusing the air alongside the savory scents of food. While the stars peek through the velvet night, the sound of the ocean's lullaby sings you to sleep once more. The routine grounds you, weaving you into the very heart of this Viking world. Though ceaseless and arduous, it whispers of a deeper truth, that living, truly living, requires not only surviving each day, but finding the will to face the next with renewed spirit and strength. As you drift into slumber, the creak of the timbers and the echoing cries of seabirds carry a promise. Though your daily tasks may seem endless, they are the ties that bind courage to flesh, echoing through history, one relentless day at a time. As you become more accustomed to the ship's rhythm, the true power of the sea begins to reveal itself, and you learn firsthand what it means to weather the storms that threaten to consume both vessel and crew. Viking seafarers were renowned not only for their prowess in battle, but also for their resilience against the raw and unpredictable forces of nature. Here, amid the expansive ocean and under the capricious northern skies, you will discover why. The sky is an overcast grey when a storm makes its presence known. The subtle shift in the wind's voice, a low growl in the distance, is a forewarning only the most seasoned seaman can recognize. It's a rattling reminder of the ancient conflict between man and the elements, illuminating your status as a mere participant in this enduring saga. Those who wear their experience like a second skin move with practiced precision, each taking up their roles without a word spoken. The urgency in their movements, punctuated by the rhythmic pounding of boots against wooden planks, wakes your senses. They are the calm within the storm, stitching together centuries of knowledge until they become as much a part of the ship as the oaken beams that creak around you. It's a humbling spectacle, akin to witnessing a master at work. You move to your position, hands gripping the oar like the lifeline you hope it will be. The salt-laden air lashes your cheeks, growing sharper, as if the storm seeks to test your mettle before it dares to show its full strength. The ship tilts as waves rise with an impatient fury beneath you, their peaks capped with frothy white curls that dance with the tempestuous wind. As the storm unfolds in earnest, you realize that rowing is not merely a charite, it's survival. Each synchronized stroke transforms into a silent prayer for steadiness, propelling the ship forward through waters that writhe like a caged serpent. Beneath this chaos, the heartbeat of the crew sinks into one, becoming a lifeline stronger than any rope or oar. Each Viking's soul becomes a thread braided into the vessel's very fabric, strengthening it against the world outside. Out here, without technology to guide you, the sea demands respect. There's talk among the crew about Odin's wrath, their whispers blending with the roar of the wind, evoking reverence for the gods whose moods direct their fates. Praise for Thor and Freyja melds with oaths and curses directed at Loki's mischief, the wellspring of stories and rituals that echo back through Norse mythology. The sensory whirl engulfs your own lashes with merciless precision, drenching you in an icy embrace as the ship lurches. Drenched to the bone, the Viking's spirit thrives, rebelling against the elements with each powerful sweep of an oar. While your modern instincts might balk at such conditions, here, strength is found in defiance against the storm's relentlessness. Historians still argue the impact these violent seas had on the Viking psyche. Was it sheer necessity that crafted them into formidable mariners, or did these natural trials fuel their mythologies and legendary vigor? In moments like these, understanding melds with experience, as you learn that fear can be as vital a tool for survival as the blade resting at your side. Yet, even in the storm's heart, there's a peculiar beauty, a raw, unhinged symphony in which the howling wind harmonizes with the shuddering timbers beneath you, every flash of lightning punctuating the darkness like a celestial punctuation mark. And in that brief, brilliant illumination, the world above and below is laid bare, a moment of transient clarity as you forge ahead. Amid the chaos, you are reminded of a quirky morsel of Viking wisdom. They believed the mighty oak trees, from which their great ships were fashioned, possessed intrinsic spirits that lent them durability and guidance. Though science, modern as it is, might scoff at such notions as your ship crests another towering wave, you can't help but silently thank these ancient trees for their steadfastness. As the storm eventually abates, the ship remains miraculously intact, having weathered yet another onslaught of the natural world. Exhausted but victorious, the crew lets out a triumphant shout that rises above the wind's dying howler, sound forged by resilience and determination, showcasing the indomitable Viking spirit. The storm's fury fades into memory, and the waters grow eerily calm, their surface reflecting the grey mirrored sky above. Shivering yet strangely invigorated, you realize that daring adventure is often cloaked in peril, and the will to persist is forged just as much in hardship as in battle. Stepping away from your oar, your hands newly calloused and raw, you find strength in the silence. The storm's lingering echoes a reminder of what it means to be part of something greater forever, entwined with the boundless waves and the life-giving breath of the North Sea. With the storm behind you, the Viking warship continues its journey across the vast and unyielding expanse of the open sea. The crew's spirits remain buoyed by the storm's survival, yet another reminder of your resilience and place amid forces both natural and man-made. As the horizon stretches into eternity, a new challenge arises, nourishing the body to sustain the soul. It's time for the daily ritual of mealtime, when the crew gathers to share what humble provisions are available, transforming sustenance into a moment of communion. To an outsider, Viking meals might seem Spartan, comprised of simple fare designed to sustain, not delight. Stepping into this communal space, you're met with the earthy aroma of smoked fish, a staple of the seafaring diet. The scent blends with the briny tang of seawater and wood, creating an ambience uniquely nourishing and utterly Viking. The meal is a medley of foodstuffs, preserved with great care to endure long voyages. Fish, often dried or pickled, boasts a flavor that has grown more pungent with Timian-acquired taste, to be sure, but one that infuses strength and an echo of the sea itself. Paired with dense, coarse rye bread that sticks stubbornly to your teeth, this sparing repast is accompanied by a ladleful of thin, hearty broth, likely made from the local catches and foraged herbs. Gathered around in a loose, haphazard circle, the crew consumes their meal with practiced ease. It's a scene that mirrors the unity in diversity, etched into every plank of the ship, each slurping mouthful, each shared bite, reinforcing the ties binding this makeshift floating society. Despite the basic ingredients, the mealtime ritual is imbued with a sense of camaraderie as your hungry soul finds warmth and comfort in simple shared humanity. In an environment bound by limited resources, culinary creativity shines through necessity. Vikings ingeniously employed various preservation methods to extend their provision, salting, smoking, and fermenting stored foodstuffs for potentially catastrophic voyages. A quirky tidbit emerges from the shadows of history. The use of whey, resulting from cheese production, was fermented to create a potent beverage known as skyr, halfway between yogurt and cheese, providing not only sustenance, but an oddly tangy boost to morale. But sustenance extends beyond just the food itself. Mealtimes are etched into the Viking way of life, with rituals and customs as steadfast as the ship's hull. The act of breaking bread glues the crew together in silent kinshipan expression of shared endurance against the vast, daunting encroachment of the ocean that surrounds you all. Here, amid the clattering dishes and banter, you begin to recognize that this reliance on each other is as sustaining as the food itself. Conversations meander like the ship itself, reflecting on past deeds and future plans, while interspersed with idle jests and ribald humor. Laughter, often at your own expense, acts as the final spice to this Viking banquet, taking the edge off the harshness of life by mocking it together. And as you wipe the traces of grease from your lips, you come to appreciate the balance, a moment of levity, wrestling away the weight of another arduous day. Sitting among these warriors, you start to understand that, despite the minimal fare, there's a satisfaction in the ritual, one that satisfies beyond the mere filling of stomachs. Yet it's also a reminder of the fragility dictated by nature, the knowledge that provision is at the whim of successful raids or well-endured storms. Historians still argue whether the scarcity of these meals influenced their bursts of colonial expansion. Were Vikings driven by desperation or ambition? Regardless, the meal before you becomes a subtle lesson in adaptation, the art of gleaning strength from simplicity. With the meal concluding, the remnants are gathered, carefully stored for future reliance. Stomachs now warmed, conversations quieten, and the crew settles back into their tasks, spirit slightly lifted by the brief respite from the rigors of Viking life. The warming sun now dips closer to the horizon, its golden light filtering through sails that flutter with renewed purpose. You step away from this communal gathering, feeling your connection to the crew deepening with each shared morsel and whispered jest. Meals aboard a Viking ship create the backbone of this fleeting semblance of home, providing both the fuel and the respite needed to confront the wide, unforgiving waters and the promise that awaits on the open seas. In this, you are reminded once more that even in the stark reality of a Viking warship, where resources are scarce, strength can be found in the simplest of feasts shared among comrades forged in the cauldron of adventure. As the warship glides tirelessly over the expanse of rolling waves, you're introduced to a skill pivotal to the Viking seafaring legend: navigation. In an age before the precise convenience of GPS and the steadfast assurance of compasses, navigating the treacherous seas required an intricate blend of intuition and acquired wisdom. To steer a Viking ship was to converse with the universe, to heed its celestial whispers and embrace its signs. Each morning, as the first light seeps across the horizon, the navigators among you direct their eyes skyward. These men are the wizards of the Viking realm, not with spells and potions, but through a mastery of reading the heavens and the life forces within the sea. There's a ritualistic quality to their observations, a patience born from necessity. You soon learn that the sun, moon, and stars aren't mere celestial decorations, but steadfast companions, whispering secrets to those willing to listen. Key to this astral navigation is the Sunstone, a fascinating Viking tool imbued with purported magical allure. This solar compass, a piece of calcite crystal, could polarize light and uncover the sun's direction, even on cloudy days. Holding a sunstone feels akin to wielding a piece of Icelandic magic, a tactile connection to the ancients, passed down through generations. While some scholars still debate whether this tool was widely used or simply legendary embellishment, you cannot help but feel its mystical pull as you see it used in practice. The sky's rotation dictates the ship's course, the North Star serving as a beacon in the velvet tapestry of night, its unwavering position guiding you toward salvation or conquest. The intricacies of star paths become vital knowledge, ensuring that, even enveloped by darkness, the sea becomes less a chaotic expanse and more a familiar roadmap etched in shimmering light. Slowly, you find yourself tracing the familiar constellations, growing adept at the patterns leading you toward the promise of new horizons. On fog-laden mornings, when both the sun and stars are frustratingly obscured, you learn to decipher the ocean's voice. The swell of the waves, their direction and rhythm, becomes a tactile language, murmuring suggestions and possibilities. The peculiar habits of seagulls, the drifting of seaweed, all these mundane phenomena, are integral to the Viking navigational narrative. Position and destination become bound in this subtle interplay between nature's signs and the keen-eyed crew who read them. Integration of these environmental cues is a mesmerizing dance with the elements. Historians still argue about the exact blend of tradition and innovation that powered these seafaring ventures. Did Viking navigational prowess stem purely from inherited knowledge, or was it bolstered by bold experimentation? Regardless of the answer, as you navigate these ancient waters, you witness firsthand the symbiotic relationship formed of man, ship, and sea. Your instructors, these seasoned mariners, share tales of expeditions undertaken, not just through the sea, but through time stories that transform storms into minor skirmishes and the impossibly distant shores into tangible triumphs. Each tale contains a valuable lesson hidden among embellishments, delivered with humor as mighty as the waves crashing against the bow. In these narratives, truth mingles with myth, unfurling a canopy of knowledge as wide as the sky itself. Gradually, with each successful landmark sighting and rising star identification, the daunting open ocean grows smaller, less an abyss, and more a series of connections leading back to mainland shores. Allowing the power of Viking intuition to course through you, you presume to understand a fraction of what generations past have mastered, their whispers caught between sunlit days and starlit nights. On one particularly clear evening, with the sea a tranquil mirror to the universe overhead, you find yourself lost in reverie. The steady thrum of the ship fades, and you drift into silent meditation. The sky unfolds its stories, a panoramic cinema accessed only by those who dare the open waters, revealing a mysterious tangential link between mortal endeavors and ancient celestial forces. Returning from your trance, you find your feet once again steady on the deck, the ship's gentle tilt matching your new, balanced understanding. The stars continue to shine, eternal witnesses to voyages daring and humble. You carry the realization that navigation is not merely the means to an end. It becomes a binding creed, a navigation of both body and spirit, transforming the Vikings into both pioneers and storytellers across the troubled tides. As the ship slices through the ocean, your fingers curl around the coarse handle of the rigging, and the stars above shimmer in silent reassurance. You now see the world through the eyes of the Vikinga realm, not only defined by lands and seas, but by a stellar guide, promising safekeeping and the allure of promise just beyond the horizon. With navigation under your belt, an intrinsic part of the Viking life comes sharply into focus as the warship presses onward across the echoing expanse of the ocean. The call to arms. On the horizon, whispered edges of new adventures draw closer, and the ship's pulse quickens with the whisper of impending raids and battles. It's a moment rife with adrenaline, threaded with both promise and perilous high-stakes theatre, where survival is pledged to strength, strategy, and cohesion. As dawn casts its quiet light across the sea, the steady beat of the oars momentarily ceases, drawing attention toward intense preparation. Battles lay on the hearts of Viking warriors like shadows of old tales, their bodies, honed by rigorous drills and combat training, their systems fine-tuned by the anticipation of conquest. Suddenly, the warship feels like a different beast, entirely a living entity, bristling with pent-up energy, waiting to be unleashed. Your hands tighten instinctively around the haft of an axe, its weight a comforting reminder of solid craftsmanship. Weapons aboard aren't just tools, they're extensions of spirit and identity. The ship's storage glints with sword edges, shield rims, and axe blades, each piece a silent narrative of past skirmishes, seasoned by salt and blood. Combat within the Norse tradition is an artful blend of aggression and mindful defense. It's a dance, albeit one where even a misstep can lead to the ultimate sacrifice. Each crew member throws themselves into rehearsed maneuvers, ingraining reflexes as tangible as the swell beneath your feet. There's a rhythm to the training, echoing the sound of waves bold, fierce, immutable. Here lies the undercurrent of Viking lore. Generations learning from the past, channeling knowledge into every movement. Humor, that bold survivor of fatigue, weaves in between instructions, underscoring the grim task with dexterous wit. A jest hints at the Jarl's battle stance resembling that of a confused bear, received with roars of laughter and ribbing the kind of merciless camaraderie that tempers bonds as stout as the ship's wooden planks. The laughter rings out, shaking your own weariness and building courage, even when courage feels elusive. As the stories circulate among the crew, tales of past battles, victories, and even losses shape a tapestry of human resilience. There's one story, a tale of a warrior who bested two opponents by wielding a shield as if it were a third arm. Whether truth or myth, it embodies the Vikings' adaptability and cunning, identities shaped by more than brute force alone. Historically, many routes lead to Viking success, but historians still argue over their inclination toward brutality versus precise strategy. Were the raiders' reputations carved by steel alone, or was it their fearless adaptability that swept through unfamiliar lands like northern winds? As you practice, shaping the air with your weapon's arc, the question becomes less of an academic intrigue and more of a personal conundrum to decrypt. The air thrums with concentrated energy, knots of muscle and malice melded by common cause. Each scenario you face transpires in brief, exhilarating time loops there. A flash of a blade, here, the sound of shields connecting in symphony. It's an immersive rehearsal, weaving reality with the legends spoken of around whispering fires. The danger sharpens senses, each beat thrumming against your chest in tandem with the exhilarating knowledge that you, too, shall etch your mark into this eternal saga. Beneath the speed and purpose, a primal connection courses through you, one that binds Vikings past and present as a singular, monumental force against the uncertainty of the world they journey through. As the horizon looms closer, and with it, the spectre of adversaries, camaraderie, surges stronger than steel. Every training maneuver, every jest shared, binds you together, weaving a tapestry of unity, forged through marrow-deep driver brotherhood of sort, driven by shared values and singular pursuit. Standing on deck, axe in hand, you're aware that each approach to conflict carries the potential to etch not only history, but reverberations through time itself. A Viking warship bears more than raiders, it carries a relentless spirit, carving through myth and history with each stroke of oar, each clash of metal. You are newly woven into this narrative, one where defeat isn't an option, and survival means daring the unforgiving world with prowess, camaraderie, and the ever-familiar laughter echoing across the salty air. As the call to arms gives way to reflective quiet once more, you take solace in your newfound purpose and unity, a tangible bond transcending words. Viking ships, carriers of dreams, strength, and continuate your sails are full, our spirits unbowed as we navigate the endless expanse. As your days beneath the dragon-headed prow unfold, you begin to appreciate the distinct soundscape that envelops the Viking warship. It's a living, breathing entity, groaning under the weight of history, each creak of the heavy timbers speaking of past voyages and future ambitions. Yet some sounds grip you with deeper resonance. Those that stir human fear or inspire resolve as they weave through the ship like whispers from the gods. The ambient noise is a constant companion. The ceaseless thud of the waves against the hull forms the steady heartbeat of your journey, grounding you even as it unnerves. It's a natural symphony, yet with every unexpected flex and shudder of the planks comes the twitch of primal instincts. Despite these wild noises, a peculiar harmony exists, one you'd find oddly comforting if not for the ever-present thought of ships that went under or took misfortunes too hard to weather. Beyond nature's melody, you learn to attune your ear to the sounds that matter most in this enclosed world, those that tip you off to changes, teach you of the culture in which you're now entangled. Here, the laughter and jokes, sometimes bawdy and oftentimes clever, ripple through the air. They wrap around each man like reassurance, a camaraderie forged in the loud defiance of their fate. This noise, discordant yet organized, becomes the pulse of life aboard. There's sound in every movement, footsteps echoing as crewmen scramble towards sails, the clattering of shields as pliable men brace wood and iron together in the mirror image of their hearts. Occasionally, your breath would catch, heartbeat driven faster, fearing the call to raid or defend, a treble ringing higher until the tension breaks and normalcy wraps its woolen arms around you again. Above and beyond this cacophony is the chanting. Runes, secrets of the old gods, spiral into being as the Skalds speaks across the gathered company. There is music in their words, a rich, woven history that eddies through the assembly, echoing off raw beams overhead. It's more than entertainment. It's a supernatural sermon of sorts, its rhythms turning weather-beaten warriors into believers and dreamers once again. The Skald is more than a simple storyteller. He is a conjurer of scene-seach lyric, imbued with ancestors' valor, every ballad choice provoking ambition higher than the swallow clouds where Odin's birds keep watch. Humor finds its way even here. The stories often carried by the absurdity of ruses played on foes or friends disgraced not cruelly, but thoughtfully, with the peculiar gentleness one might not expect from such rough-hewn souls. But the soundscape harbors gloom as well, an unintentional shift in tone, a sound like no Aethera sudden gasp or pause in work before battle arrives, releases a sharper note of tension. It's in the absence of sound, perhaps, that uncertainty and fear find their most potent expression. Heartbeats serve as metronomes for hushed whispers, each catching in the air with implications of threat or malice, too broad and complex for words alone. It's during these moments that you comprehend the power wielded by sound, its ability to calm, to energize, and most importantly, to call to arms. In its fabric is woven the anticipation of raids yet unfought, lingering in the grumbling throats of rough voices preparing for both the known and the unknown. Historians still argue about Viking tactics. Did success stem from overwhelming enemies with their numbers and noise, or was the true weapon their theatrical production, drowning out fear through meticulously crafted chaos? As you listen, the answer seems less tangible, more ethereal, wrapped in knowledge lost to ink and parchment. As you lie awake during the ship's quiet hours, Lulled by the rhythmic sway, you start to view this sonic world as an instrument played by the elements and its human denizens alike. It forges bonds that withstand the battering storm and act in silence, navigating the tenuous thread between life and death. Through this soundscape, life on the warship moves forward, haunted and buoyed by vibrant echoes of the past and a tumultuous symphony of the present. Perhaps the call of the wild sea serves not merely to prove your mettle, but as a reminder to listen to the rolling waves, the creaking beams, and the beating hearts of men unyielding in the face of a world teetering on existence's edge. This relentless cadence culminates into an unforgettable saga, one written in notes rather than words. In the dim glow of twilight where infinite sea kisses endless sky, this soundtime universe subsides to attend your musings, whispering ever so softly, promising more truths secreted within the corridors of time's unyielding line. Being tightly confined on the Viking warship, you gradually discover that the real test comes not just from fierce battles or the unforgiving sea, but from the trials of sharing such limited space with this eclectic group of warriors. Living in close quarters brings its own unique challenges, binding you with your newfound comrades in ways that stretch far beyond warriors' unity. Space is a luxury. The sea doesn't offer each. Square foot is like precious coin, hard-earned and swiftly spent. You sleep under stars and sails, with nothing more than the timber deck beneath you, and perhaps your fur cloak to ward against the chill. There's no privacy to retreat into, nowhere to shield your vulnerable thoughts from exposure, and certainly no escape from the multitude of smells that define life aboard a potent mixture of unwashed bodies, soaked leather, and eternal brine. Nighttime weaves its own set of protocols, and here you learn the art of sleep as a Viking might eyes, half open, senses honed to the night's changes, sharing warmth in clusters, more for need than want. You'd find your body wedged between burly bodies, a tangle of limbs and dreams, overlapping in desperate bids for comfort and the illusion of safety. Which brings you to the unexpected heart of the Viking canon, humor. In a world stripped of personal space, laughter becomes both a release and a crucial adhesive, binding men together. It transforms moments of tension into camaraderie, blossoming amid the rough jostling for position or the unwelcome hush of nocturnal noises. Even the smallest grievance, whether a snore rudely awakened or a boot misplaced, has the potential to become fuel for mirth or subtle rivalry, as long as wrath remains checked by humor. Daylight broadens these interactions, emphasizing how rank and role are determined not merely by strength, but also by wit and diplomacy. Every mistake is remembered, not through bitterness, but through good-natured jest, each retold like a folk tale to pass the watches. It's a script wielded as effectively as any axe, but with far less bloodshed after all. On the Viking warship, every freckled tale must play its part in keeping spirits high. Yet, constrained conditions don't solely foster laughter. There's friction, the inevitable rub of personality against personality. The ship's hierarchy offers little protection from personal politics, exacerbated by sleepless nights and arduous days. Differences in temperament are tested with the free flow of communal life, the pious quarreling with the irreverent, the thinker at odds with the instinctual. Every Viking must, as you come to realize, learn to navigate human complexity as deftly as any watery expanse. Within this arena, survival frequently depends on adaptability, where modern parallels echo every office dynamic or shared apartment frustration shaped by nature's crucible. The only sanctuary is found in simple acts of autonomy, on the sheeper chosen task or ritual grounding you in individuality amid the collective pulse of the whole. Despite tension, at the heart of the Viking enterprise lies a deeply rooted philosophy: torpor is dangerous. Every man must have his role, given structure and duty to tether him within order's harbour. Idleness is as feared as hunger, a sentiment reinforced every waking moment, each day pieced together in fragments of collective duty and individual choice. Historians still argue over whether such rigid communal life was sustainable long-term, or if each voyage held the seeds of internal collapse. Could any ship, with its charged social fabric, succeed without treading the fine wire between discipline and liberty? Yet as you absorb daily routines, this world appears to find parity not in force, but through metal and resilience forged in shared suffering. The wax and wane of daily life, with its friction and levity, create a tapestry as intricate as any woven garment draped across history. It's one where survival is as often a shared endeavor as it is a solitary one, each crew member working to balance the tightrope walks of individuality and collective existence. In the ship's confined quarters, your horizon is an axis of shifting relationships, arcs of arcs, narrated in personal triumphs and trials. To be part of this inchoate civilization is to seek harmony amid discordance, to create bonds stronger than the fiercest of waters, and to stride towards the farthest shore as a singular, unwavering unit defiant in the face of adversity, united in story and song, and above all, yielded to the whims of their own shared humanity. As your familiarity with life aboard the Viking warship deepens, another essential element unfolds before you: the power of stories and the Skalds who weave them. In a world where ink and parchment are scarce, these masterful storytellers hold the key to the collective memory, casting verbal spells that bind the crew together through laughter, wisdom, and shared identity. The Skalds occupy an esteemed position on the ship, their voices bearing the weight of tradition and innovation alike. With a few artful phrases, they conjure before you the spirits of ancient gods and the exploits of legendary heroes. Entranced, you find yourself transported beyond the present, journeying into the mythic panorama of the Norse imagination. It's a powerful distraction from the endless stretch of sea, and a potent reminder of ideals larger than individual selves. Every evening, as the sea settles into a rhythmic lull and the salt air cools against your skin, the crew gathers in a loose circle. The Skald begins to speak, his voice rising and falling like the ocean waves themselves, mixing alliteration with saga, myth with history. It's a chorus interwoven with words both beautiful and fierce, a tapestry where mighty Thor wrestles the Midgard serpent, and wise Odin trades an eye for divine wisdom. These tales resonate, striking chords deep within each listener, whispering of valor, courage, and the bittersweet fragility of existence. Yet, the Skalds are more than mere entertainers. They are philosophers, jesters, chroniclers and, sometimes, even sly provocateurs. Often, a tale will be laced with humor, skewering vanity or folly, with a twist of clever wordplay that prompts a ripple of laughter. One particular Skald might regale you with tales of Loki's trickery amid his fellow gods, ensnaring them with knavery only to weave redemption through sheer cunning. Each tale becomes a vessel of lessons, couched in laughter and curiosity. In their stories, you seek refuge and wisdom. A particularly memorable narrative sees a mighty Viking chief outwitted by a seemingly modest farmer's daughter. Her wit surpasses his brawn, and thus, trials that begin in stalemate end in uneasy reconciliation, an ode to intelligence, complementing strength. It's these tales, replete with moral ambiguities, that offer comfort in the darkness, connecting you to the immense tapestry of human experience. Through their words, the Skalds also nurture cultural identity, planting seeds that carry the legacy of your shared past into the depths of your very soul. Knowledge passed orally becomes as much an heirloom as any tangible artifact, from tales of fierce raids to whispered accounts of quiet heroism, all shared with pride beneath starrier skies. You start to realize that in these stories lies the promise of communal immortality, your name echoing through history's corridor. Indeed, the stories not only link you to your forebears, but also serve as practical guides for living. Narratives that address bravery, respect, and loyalty reinforce societal norms and expectations, acting as a mirror to Vikings' own lives. Heathen cosmology blends with practical life lessons, every hero's flaw transforming into a teaching moment, emphasized through allegory more resonant than lecture alone. Historians still debate the role and origins of skaldic compositions, but within these voyages, it becomes clear: did Vikings sail for conquest or trade? Each yarn contains specks of both, celebrating not just warriors, but the alliance makers and explorers who relied on words as willingly as weapons. The fluidity between legend and life blurs, bears no boundary where one ends and the other begins. In quieter times, with masts singing in the breeze and ship mildly rocking, you carry the stories within you, mulling over their meanings. The unassuming humor, the the whispered lesson siege, is a personal talisman, protection against the uncertainties ahead. Each story, you realize, is not just another thread in the grand tapestry, but a personal gift, mapping where you fit within this legacy of sea, song, and conquest. Even as the wordsmith works his magic around the flickering glow of lantern light, you find solace in the myths that anchor your identity to something greater than the sea itself. The vibrations of laughter, the solemnity of shared silence, the stories bring them all together, echoing through the ship's hull like the endless waves that define your collective journey. What endures ultimately is the art of the narrativa vehicle of exploration, as potent as any Drakkar upon the waters, guiding you backward and forward in time. And as the sea shifts beneath you, leaving your senses adrift from reality's anchor, you feel the Skalds' tales carry you into dreams like the softly lapping ocean pulls the ship toward distant horizons. As the vibrant tales spun by the Skalds weave their tapestry around you, life aboard the Viking warship continues to unfold, demanding more than just physical endurance. Surviving in this world requires a unique set of skills that go beyond battle readiness or celestial navigation. You must adapt to an environment unpredictable and often unforgiving. Here, personal survival techniques take on a singular importance, where necessity births resourcefulness in ways you might have never imagined. From dawn till dusk, the ebb and flow of shipboard life challenges your capacity to adapt. At times, routine tasks offer unexpected lessons. Take, for example, the nuanced art of fishing in open waters. No modern contraptions here, only woven nets, rudimentary lines, and an understanding of the sea's language. Watching seasoned Vikings unspool their lines, you learn to discern the subtle ripples and flickers of marine life below, honing an intuitive skill you never knew lay dormant within you. More than just an act of sustenance, the fishing ritual embodies a deeper type of survivaler, calm patience that counters the storm's fury, imbuing you with a newfound understanding of life's rhythms. Standing against the wind, eyes on the water, you feel the exhilarating patience of the hunt fusing with nature's beat, exposing the marrow of Viking resilience. Equally critical are the unconventional uses of animals, surprising allies in this harsh world. Consider the value assigned to seabirds, whose presence signals land's proximity, and the herds of seals, yielding essential oils and furs for trade or field repairs. Even their bones serve utility, carved into tools or intricate tokens carried by those who comprehend their worth. Amidst your observations, you're introduced to an unusual yet ingenious trick, the lining of helmets and weak points of armor with moss, an effective insulator against the bitter cold, repelling both frost and dampness. This choice of material, humble yet surprisingly effective, reveals a quirky flexibility in Viking survival that defies your initial perceptions of hard-edged warrior life. As the warship sails closer to hostile shores, other, more peculiar skills come to light. Whispers among the crew speak of the strategic use of wild plants, gathered during brief landfalls, alchemy of Natura survivalists' dream brews, potions to stave off ailments, offering surprising insights into Viking botanical knowledge, secured well before similar practices were documented more widely. And then there's the early form of psychological warfare realm, involving those subtle human nuances. Clever Vikings would sometimes fashion decoys out of straw and cloak, setting them at the bow to feign larger numbers from afar, turning their enemies' imaginations into weapons more powerful than blade or axe. A strategy reliant on deception, it captivates you, revealing the lengths to which Viking cunning extends beyond simple brute force. While life aboard may appear purely rough and physical from afar, the reality is replete with sophisticated tactics live ransom for safety and intuitive methods that showcase intelligence and adaptability as survival keystones. Historians still debate whether the Vikings' success lay in fortitude or their deft mastery of nuance, but aboard the ship, interplay between instinct and innovation becomes clear, crafting an image of adventurers rather than mere raiders. As you observe these arts of survival, you're struck by the practicality that underpins Viking life. Each skill is woven into the greater story, a testament to their pragmatic understanding of strength, the kind that lies in knowing the land and sea intimately enough to bend both to their will. Prompted by necessity, you find yourself adopting these learned lessons, securing your chances amid humbling grandeur. On this ship, each approach to survival is a crafted masterpiece, guiding you with confidence toward new horizons. The ingenuities and resourcefulness you witness take root within, reshaping your preconceptions and melding practicality with emboldened cruisers' dreams. Adaptation becomes your shield, your legacy aboard this mythical journeyer, testament to endurance and imagination, stretching beyond time's rigid confines. And as your hands grow more accustomed to these ancient skills, your spirit sails boldly into the unknown, fortified by the subtle dance of strength and cleverness. As the days blend seamlessly into one another aboard the Viking warship, another often overlooked yet critical facet of life at sea becomes apparent: hygiene. In close quarters, maintaining cleanliness and health takes on a unique character. Viking hygiene hacks emerge, revealing an intriguing mix of practicality, creativity, and, admittedly, certain peculiarities that would surely raise modern eyebrows. Without the luxury of hot showers or antiseptic wipes, the Vikings adapted their own methods to fend off the pervasive grime and odors of a life intimately bound to the elements. The ship's store of water, precious and finite, is reserved primarily for drinking, leaving little for washing away the daily accumulation of sweat and salt. So, you find other resources pressed into service. Enter the seaweed bath, a favored technique among the Vikings, as you learn during your initiation into this salty ritual. It's a process as simple as it is earthy. Swaths of seaweed are gathered and used to scrub away the day's stalest traces. Though slippery and unusual at first, the seaweed's natural abrasiveness serves an invigorating purpose, proving surprisingly effective as an exfoliant, while its natural iodine content offers a fresh, albeit briny, scent. It's a spa treatment of sorts, plucked straight from the ocean's bounty, and as revitalizing as any modern-day concoction. For personal grooming, the men take meticulous care of their hair and beards, surprising you with their attention to style. Combs crafted from bone or antler, carved with fine precision, are highly prized possessions passed down as heirlooms and held in high regard. It's an art practiced methodically, with scenes unfolding where groups gather, combs at hand, as tales are exchanged and laughter punctuates the grooming ritual, quiet reminder that identity and presentation hold power even here, on the cusp of battle and exploration. The subject of teeth, too, enters the narrative unexpectedly grounded in practicality upon disclosure of birchbark tar. Used as both resin and primitive toothpaste, the tar's astringent properties offer oral hygiene with natural flair. Imagine chewing on a strip of bark intertwined with tar, drawing flakiness through teeth like a dental rogue of the ancient world. This no-frills solution serves dual allegiance: an oral cleanser and occasional pain reliever when discomfort arises. Further hygiene strategies border on the unconventional, introducing innovations like urine cleansing, perhaps surprising, given modern sensibilities, but among Vikings, widely applied. Urine, aged to fatally ferment ammonia, turns into a cleansing agent for materials, a testament to their pragmatic approach to make do with available resources. You learn of its use not just in laundry, but also in the tanning of hides and treating wounds. Amid jokes about the distinctive scent, a shared appreciation for efficiency arises. Bizarre and quirky as these practices appear, you recognize an underlying logic. Cleverly wielded and deeply grounded in the natural world, Viking hygiene is as much about adaptability as it is about nurturing a steely spirit. Historians still argue whether these methods stemmed from timeless tradition or necessity's improvisation. But as you bear witness, each quirk transforms into yet another layer of depth within this seafaring saga. As the wind cracks and draws your attention into the cold, you weave these newfound methods into your daily routine, while adjusting your perceptions of cleanliness and civilization. Here, far removed from the modern world's structures, the ingenuity encapsulated in the Viking crafts reshapes your expectations of thriving at sea. In so doing, these practices emerge as rites of resilience, soldered not against grime and weariness alone, but against the existential understanding of what it means to survive in extraordinary circumstance. No longer a mere outsider, you become part of this story, weaving legacy through everyday endeavors on shared seas. What someone else might categorize as unhygienic, you now view through the lens of necessity and resourcefulness, recognizing each strategy as a testament to holistic survival. As the ship hums a lullaby to vast oceans and flickering stars, you sleep with renewed appreciation for how these Viking men, despite their earthy techniques, achieve regality against all odds. You lie within this minuscule world, alive with the sound of the sea and stories told in grueling rituals, aware that these practices stitch rich narratives into life's tapestry, guiding you forthrightly with mirrored calm toward the horizon. As your voyage continues across the relentless sea, a new challenge emerges, reminding you of the intertwined nature of the Vikings' world, the perils of running aground. For an ancient mariner, this threat is as real as any enemy force, capable of crippling not only the vessel, but also the crew's morale and precious stores of provisions. Moreover, such situations often test yet another vital aspect of life aboard the warship: how ranks shuffle and shift during calamity, revealing the strengths and flaws of human nature. The day begins uneventfully, the horizon stretching in its familiar embrace, but the wind carries hints of the unexpected. Concerns flutter through the ranks like seabirds sensing a storm. Soon, shouts rise sharply as the ship lists, the shallows lurking just below the keel's long shadow, treacherous and unseen. The rigging strains, wooden creaks louder, officers bark commands quick and urgent. In moments like these, there is no time for hesitation. The Vikings spring into action, each member acutely aware of their role. Oars poised, crew navigate with masterful flicks, avoiding the shoal's grip. Yet the shallows prove cunning, finding their way beneath the stout hull, and the ship shudders to a halt, caught off guard. The heart of the vessel groans, a vibrant creature, encountering its natural adversary. Here, you witness a remarkable transition. The hierarchy aboard doesn't dissolve, but rather transforms, adapting to necessity. The Jarl, known for his practiced calm, casts aside ceremonial decorum, coupling savvy with command presence as he decides the next steps. His voice rings clear, cutting through the din with directives both practical and reassuring. Amidst the turmoil, the herdmen take on newfound urgency, their roles expanding beyond protectors to problem solvers, ushering Carls into action. It's a symphony of strategism focused on redirecting the ship, others on preserving supplies and sanity. Your own hands find purchase, falling in line to heave alongside a chorus of other oars, each stroke driven deeper by purpose and unified will. Even among thralls, a camaraderie emerges that temporarily softens the lines of subjugation, evoking qualities of their own resilience and silent strength in the face of adversity. You sense a shift, not just in duties, but in the undercurrents of mutual respect born out of shared hardship. When words alone can't liberate, the solution unfolds through sweat and unyielding grit, with ropes taut, leverage findings, discovery where rawness lies in teamwork's forging fire. As part of the collective effort, you learn that the true craft of Viking life isn't simply about following orders or preserving hierarchy, it's about adapting on the fly, translating cleverness into orchestrated power and ensuring survival. Amid the efforts, humor stubbornly refuses submission. Jests fill the spaces between grunts and groans, buoying spirits while easing tensions. A quick-witted comment about the ship demanding a chance to stretch its legs sparks a laugh, the sound integrating camaraderie into sweat-drenched labor. In reality, it retrains focus, maintaining unity amongst strife's crucible. Historians still argue whether Viking resilience stems from leadership alone or the adaptability woven through its ranks. Is it a simple command-response dynamic, or is the strength of each individual harnessed and appreciated, ensuring a unity that even obstacles struggle to break? Here, the answer shows its face acquiescing through action. Slowly, remarkably, the tide begins to rise, coaxed by skill and determination. After heavy exertion and precise teamwork, the ship lifts free, buoyed back toward open waters. A cheer erupts, tension dissipating like morning mist, every pulled muscle and scraped hand replaced by a victorious chorus louder than any roar of wavesproof of the clan's unwavering spirit. When all is said and done, As calm returns and the warship resumes her glorious arc toward distant horizons, you reflect on the experience as a rite of passage, one that redefines comrades not by static rank, but by innate worth in shared triumphs. Running aground challenges more than instinct or strength of sail. It forges iron from otherwise raw, unspeaking metal, reiterating the guidance carried in every paean sung beneath starry night skies. And as the phosphorescent wake dances brightly, shaping tales alongside the ship's prow, you settle into your place amid this dynamic society with deeper insight. In moments of grounding, life reveals its truest form, centered in adaptability and undeterred resolve. In these times, ranks might shuffle, but resilience transcends sacks and oar, shield and sail, and the mighty heart of every Viking writ large upon the enduring sea. As the ship sails seamlessly past its recent ordeal, your attention turns to the subtler threads woven into the Viking way of life. Here, amongst the interplay of tempestuous sea and unwavering steel, another layer of their existence reveals itself that guides actions and perceptions. A deep-seated world of superstitions. These beliefs permeate every aspect of life aboard, shaping decisions and offering a peculiar comfort against the chaos of the unknown. Superstitions are as much a part of the Viking daily routine as rowing or raiding. They lend structure to the sailor's outlook, guarding against misfortune and seeking favor from the divine forces governing both land and sea. Within these layers of mysticism and ritual lie unspoken codes of behavior, revealing strengths and vulnerabilities not catalogued by history's grander narratives. Morning begins with Whisper Gull sighting, interpreted variously as an omen of safe passage or hidden peril. For every raven sailing alongside, there's a message from Odin, the all-seeing god, a guide across treacherous waters. You absorb these signs, part reverie, part reality, a gentle encouragement for weary souls. Their reassurance that vigilant eyes watch from above, even as Surt's fire may loom ominously. Throughout the day, interactions often include the ceremonies, some small and inconspicuous, but each breathing power given by faith. The tinging chime of Thor's hammer pendants, respectfully touched before meals, weaves patterns of sound into the air, an invocation murmured in prayer. These are not mere trinkets but talismans, believed to offer protection through divine whim. It's fascinating to observe how skepticism and belief interlace, forming part of the sinew that binds this seafaring community. Simple tasks often assume a spiritual significance. Stalks of sage burned to purify the air leave a distinctive scent, lingering whether truly protective or simply comforting. No one shuns it. Ritual cleansings and blessings alike paint the routine in sanguine charms, purposefully governed by a rhythmic relationship between man and unseen forces. You grow accustomed to the sight of runes etched, scratched with sacred texts into weapons or mast, emblematic of fortune and sagacity sought beyond the tangible realm. Each carving tells a story, a hopeful dialogue with deities between gust and gale. These ancient symbols hold promise, a piece of home bonded through inscriptions carried cross and back across fated pathways. Historians still argue whether Viking superstition is born from religious conviction or pragmatism's embrace of perceived wisdom. Are these charms mere tools of the psyche to combat harsh realities, reflections of complex cosmology, or a blend shaped by time and necessity? Encountering them firsthand, you glean that belief springs from myriad sources, blossoming in a world rooted in actions unseen yet deeply felt. Every voyage carries menacing undertones, it is whispered. The sea goddess Ran waits to feast upon sailors' lives, she claims. At every turn, charms are designed to pacify her hunger, food tossed overboard as offeringa, curiously practical and mystical gesture combined. Yet beneath apparent reverence lies humor, again belying a sly understanding of the superstitions that dictate life. Whether Mare Nostrum smiles benevolently depends as much on good sense as mystic rites, and it's in jesting at bad luck or calamity that they unveil a truth often wrapped in laughter's embrace. No matter the unreadable runes, vigilance partnered with levity remains each Viking's best ally. As daylight fades into a tapestry of stars, one final custom marks the cycle: a single candlelight positioned at the bow, a beacon guiding wandering spirits safely back home. Its flame flickers in rhythm with the ship, setting course for tomorrow's paths. Witnessing this ritual evokes a sense of contemplation, where mortals strive for harmony in life's disharmonious dance, and faith extends into eternity. Belief grows stronger as you find your own eyes, tracing constellations, discovering links between universe's grandeur and personal endeavor. Alongside these warriors, your worldview subtly shapes, layer by layer, a blend of pragmatism and hope, built on storied foundations, binding the ethereal sky to the ship's tempered heart. Within the rituals and customs marking each action, a deeper complexity emerges, rich as a woven tapestry, an invincible legacy carried by oar and shield across the ages. You gather in this sea, blessed fellowship of the fearless, guided by whispers of destiny, urged on by a collective faith that sails beyond horizon's farthest edge, becoming an enduring testament to what truly endures, a potent amalgam of strength, resolve, and dreams, imparted by vision and belief intertwined. As your journey on the Viking warship continues, the promise of new land grows ever closer, and with it, the undertone of unfolding tension raiding is imminent. Amongst your shipmates, the air vibrates with a mixture of anticipation and trepidation as you prepare to pivot from the steady rhythm of sea travel to the organized chaos of battle. The forthcoming raid embodies the essence of the Viking spirit: audacity, survival, and the always palpable edge of danger that defines their storied legacy. As dawn creeps upon the horizon, whispers of land spread through the crew with electric anticipation. A landfall means more than mere respite, heralds opportunity and tension in equal measure. Excitement hangs palpably aloft, stirring lifelong warriors to arms and igniting those, like you, who have yet to draw their weapons in hostile engagement. Today, the stage of history unfurls before you, brimming with possibility. The ship's routine pivots with intentional precision and practiced ease, melding into a preliminary symphony of warfare. Armor and weaponry, usually tucked away, are given fresh life. Each axe cleaned, each shield polished, carrying more than practical utility. Ideals, crafted in iron and leather, imbued with memory, are essential tools, helmed by resolute hands. A call to assemble rings out, firm and low, drawing everyone to convene. The Jarl stands center, absorbing the group's deference and anticipation. He speaks plainly of the challenges to come. The expectations, song woven with experience drawn from ribboned pastures, voice echoes like an elder putting coming-of-age tests into crisp, resolute words. It becomes evident that this moment defines as much a bond of courage as it does commitment. Fate, carried on the wind, no longer seems quite so abstract. Part of the preparations involves readying yourself both in body and spirit. Under the Jarl's directive, war paint ashen hues, symbolizing strength and ferocity applied, tracing vivid patterns across eyes and cheekbones. Each mark whispers of tradition and power, your face now mirroring the ancestral lineage standing beside you, peerless warriors poised to claim destiny, come what may. Embedded within these preparations lies a curious contradiction. The thought of attacking another land, plundering their resources, still feels surreal. It elicits contemplation more complex than simple survival. Is the Viking hunger for adventure driven by economic need or something deeper, a yearning to carve names across unblemished maps? Historians still argue whether raids were born strictly of necessity or unfurled from human nature's curious ambition, seeking to understand its place within an unfolding universe. As you scan the perfectly formed line of determined faces, the Skald steps forward, strings of his lyre blending with murmurs of approval. His song dances within the air, etching valor and fortitude across taut sinews, bonding past to present, as each member finds comfort in music's embrace. Tales spring into the present, of Eric Bloodaxe and others who painted their own legacies under watchful starsoul minds, turning toward the shared mythos, inhaled through generational lungs. It becomes evident that prowess alone won't define this raid's outcome. Your success will hinge on united hearts, woven through layered strength, ingenuity, and yesterdliness of wit. Every silent gesture enkindles anticipation. Strategies whispered on the sea breeze transform knowledge into kinetic resolution. You feel the undercurrent of fear a natural companion, but as blades lift, so too does trust bestride this curious kinship, steadfast as the northern wind itself. Setting foot from the ship onto foreign soil, the world feels new and familiar. Ahead lies the unknown, a stark juxtaposition between young earth beneath worn sandals and the timeless ocean at your back. Yet what appears daunting also beckons as the ultimate stage, afresh with audacity's scent, each breath intertwined with fate herself, whose arms embrace and challenge in equal measure. The rhythm of history beats through your veins, the footfalls of ancestors urging you onward. Step by step, you move toward an uncertain yet promised future, aware that every action echoes across fields of time, woven into the tapestry of shared courage, experience, and lore. Here, on the brink of engagement, with the tide at your heels and opportunity stretching before you, the Viking spirit gains true shape, a testament to ultimate potentialities, crafted through conviction, and fought with both dream and steel. In these charged moments, you capture a glimpse of what it means to stride fearlessly into the unknown, forging an existence far more resonant than mere survival. The path you've taken imparts more than just a shared sagates, an understanding both immaculate and challenging, binding you irrevocably to those who dared look to the horizon, unflinching, and carry the adventure onward through grit and glory alike, all coming together to remind you that behind the battle cry lies the irresistible call of life itself. As the anticipation of the raid pulses around you, another aspect of Viking life takes center stage, a complex consideration that has accompanied warriors for centuries. The dichotomy of protection versus agility in battle. The decision to wear chainmail, a woven fabric of metal, providing an almost mythical aura of invulnerability, requires weighing heavily the balance between defense and speed, a debate echoing through time among warriors, scholars, and historians. With the warship moored like a slumbering beast, preparations for the raid enter their final stages. Around you, seasoned Vikings armor themselves in the glinting embrace of mail shirts intricately crafted, links interlocking to form a barrier against the mortal threat of blade and arrow. There's no denying the comfort this protective garment offers your comrades, their movements confidently assured beneath the bright lattice of metal, each ring a tiny sentinel warding against harm. Yet, as you watch the crew don their armor, an undeniable question lingers: these shirts may stop a blade, but what of the agility sacrificed in return? The weight of chainmail, though finely distributed across the shoulders, can transform warriors into human anchors, their legs heavy, while speed and nimbleness become ghostly whispers, lost amid opportune complexity. The debate tumbles onward within the heart of every would-be warrior. Does one favor these chains of iron, investing faith in their unrivaled protection, or choose instead to remain unencumbered, trading surety of defense for precision and speed? Many are the hues of battle shadows, where even shields may crack, arrows may find their mark, and not all tales carry victory by mail alone. Watching those in their iron shrouds reminds you of the silent pact made with fate. Loss and gain ripple together as actions twist destiny's arc, and the true quandary lies not in armor's figure, but within heart and will alone. For some, the additional weight becomes a boon, gradually adjusting to a rhythmic embrace that synchronizes with their beating heart. Their steps become marked by purpose, each stride forward a belligerent counter to chaos. For others, freedom from metal confinement grants liberty sought in swift tactics and open movement, their footwork whirling dervishes amidst enemy ranks. Whichever path grasps you, success lies solely in the claim you make to this memento-deft maneuver practiced, a quiet understanding of when instinct persuades. Amidst these varied discussions, humor rises as commonplace as the sea winds themselves, granting levity even in potential gravitas. A humorous remark from Jala, burly warrior, weighing as much as the armor he dons about the chainmail doubling as an impromptu fortress, draws laughs, lighting faces briefly shadowed. Through jest, fleeting fears become the echoes of misplaced tensions, relationships guarded by iron links of good cheer. Historians still argue whether the prevalence of chainmail defined victory more through psychological edge or true preventative measure. Across countless battlegrounds, was the pride of armor merely an extension of conquest-minded bravado, or an enduring aid tested by time and humanity's deepest dreams? Facts merge with legend here at the cusp of Viking expedition, every ringed cuirass or bare-breasted warrior composing their own story. As the raid planning unfurls, you find yourself contemplating the symphony of choices each warrior makes. Your hand brushes against the chest piece laid out near you, feeling the kingdom of iron whisper beneath your palms. With the call to action in the air, your heart beats a resounding cadence, dictating your own path amid grappling foes and horizons untethered. Regardless of whether you opt to wear chainmail this day, you come to understand a deeper truth that underlies it all, that beneath the mighty clangor of iron, the source of resilience settles not in armor alone, but within the spirit's resolve. Through every well-placed blow, every movement calculated amid chaos, lies the essence of true Viking force-fierce, unyielding, and eternally bold. As you adjust your cloak and secure your place among those poised to set forth, the debate between chainmail and agility falls into place as part of a larger, dynamic dance. It's a reflection of the heart's eternal struggle, of the wisdom and strength each moment demands. From shore to battlefield, protected by faith rather than chain, you glimpse the unfettered courage guiding every Viking soul, the will to surge onward, harnessing destiny across uncharted tides, a testament enduring as the stars above. As the Viking warship approaches its destination, laden with both ambition and the sharp anticipation of conflict, another nemesis lurks in the shadows, the spectre of illness. In the cramped quarters of the ship, far from the reach of familiar shores, this invisible foe may prove as deadly as any armed adversary. Dealing with illness at sea is a delicate dance, balanced between primitive treatments and a hearty dose of Norse fortitude. Life aboard the warship, with its crew packed tightly together, creates an ideal environment for maladies to take root. Limited ventilation, hygiene that would make a modern germaphobe shudder, and an ever-present chill in the air render your immune system perpetually on guard. It's a reminder of the vulnerabilities lurking amidst the strength and power so evident in the Viking aura. When illness does strike, as it invariably will, improvisation coupled with natural remedies takes center stage. The Vikings, masterful at conquering both land and sea, apply equal innovation toward combating ailments. One member of the crew, often a woman skilled in the ancient arts of healing gore, a vulva, as they are sometimes reverently regarded, steps forward to tend to the stricken, weaving centuries of inherited wisdom into restorative action. Herbs stored responsibly through journeys past become vital tools, chamomile to soothe fevers, garlic to fight infections, dried willow bark acting as a rudimentary aspirin. The Skalds' stories even tell of yarrow used to staunch bleeding and cleanse wounds, while angelica, a plant they valued both in blessing and brew, wards off darker spirits believed to cause illness. A broth of spiced broth, earthy and warming, offers sustenance and comfort its cade of bones, brewed to extract life's essence from its core. It nourishes the sick, gradually weaving warmth back into weary bones, imbuing them with the strength to fight another day. Rituals follow in unison, accompanied by incantations whispered into dusk, offering prayers to the gods for protection and healing. When the ship halts at foreign shores, hands work with tireless determination, harvesting natural bounty-desperate gestures of control against the threat of sickness. Attention turns to strategic foraging, as helpful botanicals found and utilized could prove distinguishing factors between recovery and uncertainty. Here, nature's touch, though sometimes harsh, collaborates with those who have learned her language well enough to glean from her design. Historians still debate about the breadth of Viking medical knowledge. Were they profoundly adept at utilizing tradition's alchemy, or were chance and resilience the guiding factors of survival? As you observe their practices walking that fine line between ingenuity and hope, you appreciate that even amid adversity, the human spirit prevails. Desperation drives creativity, and these rough-hewn people are no exception. Woven into survival are not only skaldic tales, but also the quieter stories born of convalescence. Within the small alcove of the ship where the sick gather, a curious camaraderie develops. Echoes of laughter, some weak and hollow yet defiant, underscore the persistent will to defy the odds. Humor serves a familiar refrain, bolstering spirits against disease that plays out its insidious game amid otherwise tireless souls. In the face of ailment, practical wisdom melds with the belief that moral strength and courage stand as equally potent balms. The warriors form a protective shell around those affected, ensuring their needs are met and honoring them with the same fierce loyalty manifest in battle. Each day, a subtle metamorphosis occurs, vitality slowly restored alongside morale as bright sparks replace yesterday's heaviness. For you, this experience reiterates a valuable lesson. Beyond the iron and rawhide, past shields and swords, lies a quieter heroism persistence. Each cough and breath drawn reveals capacity for endurance far beyond combat alone. Survival's identity shifts. You perceive strength not as brute force, but as a delicate continuum of hope borne across salty breezes. As the ship sails onward, carrying both health and ambition beneath its resilient keel, you realize the depths of Viking fortitude. Each sway and surge becomes a testament to adaptability and community, a shared domain, where every voice resonates toward healing. As illness retreats, leaving silent imprints among seasoned bodies and storied spirits, you understand the essence of this warrior culture. It speaks of facets not often sung as loudly, celebrating not just the will to fight, but the enduring will to heal as well. The steady sound of oars slicing through the water serves as a continuous backdrop for contemplation, and as the Viking warship presses forward, the horizon not just extending in physical space, but in existential exploration, you find yourself delving into the profound inner world of Viking belief, the vision of Valhalla. This legendary afterlife, shimmering like the aurora borealis in the Viking psyche, offers not only solace, but a significant source of strength and motivation as you journey through the perilous waters. Valhalla stands not as a mere myth, but as a vibrant reality deeply etched into every Viking soul. It's the great hall of Odin, the hallowed place where warriors who fell bravely in battle are chosen to reside, feasting and fighting for eternity, awaiting the final battle of Ragnarok. This vision shapes every decision, every stroke of the oar, and every clash of swords, driving the Vikings' audacious spirit both on sea and land. With every skirmish and challenge, the belief in Valhalla gilds the Vikings with courage, transforming fear into fuel for valor. The promise of an exalted afterlife imbues even the most arduous of tasks with significance. Of victory means glory on earth, while death in battle becomes a path to divine reunion. It's a beautifully symmetrical outlook, allowing you to engage with each encounter, knowing that the outcome, whatever it may be, holds profound meaning. Under the shimmering lights of a Nordic evening sky, whispers abound of heroic ascensions. The tales told are not only of the legendary figures like Ragnar Lodbrok and Harald Fairhair, but of countless unnamed warriors whose deeds hearten those they leave behind. As you listen, you begin to perceive Valhalla not just as a location, but a spiritual ideal, an aspirational realm mapped against the constellated dance above. One particular evening, gathered around the low, flickering glow aboard, a Skald spins a tale of Eric, an unsung hero who embraced his fate with unwavering resolve. His story unfolds like a tapestry, each thread rich with valor and sacrifice, woven into images so vivid it's as if the deeds spring to life before your eyes. In these stories, humor plays its part, a nod to life's lighter moments amid the hallowed halls, invoking a smile to balance the solemnity of inevitability. For many Vikings, this belief system provided a narrative that intertwined with the very fabric of their existence. Historians still argue whether such beliefs arose from deep cultural roots or as necessary constructs to mitigate the harshness of life. Yet aboard the ship, it seems both perspectives coexist harmoniously. Their immutable faith shapes every encounter, offering what feels like an unassailable structure against the chaotic world. Rituals honoring those who have fallen resonate deeply, both in their simplicity and profound resonance. Whether inscribed on stones marking the shore or whispered into the wind during solemn gatherings, such practices ensure that the legacy of bravery endures, teaching you that remembrance binds the tangible and ethereal realms. As you internalize this ethos, it molds your aspiration, offering not just comfort in the face of mortality, but a lens to examine your place in this shared journey. Conversation sometimes lingers on the concepts of fate and free will, the eternal questions that intrigue both scholars and sailors alike. Is one truly bound by destiny's thread, or do intentions carve independent paths within the tapestry? Watching the crew, you discern a keen acknowledgement of both a dance between divine resonance and human choice, ensuring you grasp the humility that defines Viking life. The vision of Valhalla isn't merely an echo in the Viking consciousness. It's reflected in duty, where each act, small or grand, circles back to this belief in realms eternal and honor preserved. The solemnity of this drives every mission, lifted by acknowledgement that each breath taken, every deed forged in both calm and tempestuous seas, constructs a bridge linking this world with the tapestry of the immortal. Perhaps it's the quiet evening hours, or the endless turns of the oar that carve deeper this insight within you. The understanding that Valhalla, beyond its horizon of splendor, serves as a metaphor etched in humanity's need for meaning, a recognition at last of mortality's honor-bound heart. What you take from this understanding is enlightening, that once the tempest ebbs and life's last vestige rests peacefully beneath the northern lights, those left behind raise their eyes to the stars and see, in those shimmering eternal constellations, the guiding presence and promise of Valhalla. Guided by the promise of Valhalla's storied halls, the Vikings navigate both the expansive seas and the intricate codes of honor that permeate every aspect of their existence. This code, unwritten but deeply ingrained, serves as the compass by which respect and identity are earned, dictating actions and interactions aboard the ship and beyond. The Viking code of honor, as you come to understand, is not merely ceremonial. It is the very core of what it means to live and die as a Norse warrior. On this ship, every choice is measured by a scale unseen, where bravery, loyalty, and reputation weigh heavily. The daily rhythm, from the stroke of an oar to the clang of a sword, revolves around a center rooted in ancestral beliefs and societal constructs. To betray this honor is to court danger beyond battle's sharpest threater, standing injury as profound as any inflicted by physical means. This code speaks first and foremost of loyalty, demanding steadfastness to one's clan above all else. Fraternity becomes the keystone around which life orbits, rendering betrayal unthinkable. Bonds forged amid the brine of shared voyages are binding, and though the seas may part or fates conspire, the steadfast loyalty persists, a shimmering thread spun through the grand tapestry of time itself. Trust, too, becomes a currency closely guarded. On a voyage where survival hinges on teamwork and mutual reliance, the implications of trust run deep. Within this chain of dependability, each link bears the weight of shared histories, each unspoken promise holding firm through storm and silence. To live outside this sphere of shared confidence renders one an outcast, a fate infinitely more isolating than exile by land alone. As you observe these bonds in practice, respect emerges as both a gleaming shield and a sharpened sword. Leaders, from the Jarl to seasoned warriors at your side, understand that respect commands more sway than any decree of fact communicated through action rather than dictated through title alone. Observing this dynamic manifests a curious shift. It's not fear but deliberate choice and collective esteem that instills command. Charisma and competence prove equal partners with lineage, enabling each warrior their rightful place in the Viking hierarchy. Yet, the code isn't merely martial. Hospitality and generosity form cornerstones, deeply revered traits bestowed as offerings to both kith and kin, stranger and seer alike. Stories are shared of figures immortalized by willingness to open doors unto fellow souls, fostering alliances and sheltering harbingers of fate, a crucial practice that nurtures the balance between conflict and accord. These principles collide with modern perceptions, driven home by humor's guiding lamp. Even amid solemn discourse, laughter acts as both social equalizer and subtle reminder of life's breadth, where even the most steadfast can find balance in a well-placed jest. This blend of stoic reverence and candid levity, swirling as fluidly as the northern seas, reveals a culture both deeply philosophical and disarmingly pragmatic. While historians still debate the origins and rigidness of this Viking code, whether etched from divine mandate or societal necessity, the truth lies between both. On the ship, it becomes clear that these values evolved amid complexities of survival, lending Vikings their legendary unity and ferocity amid a world dancing with shades of grey. Honor arises not as a static ideology, but as a living, breathing entity, shaping every encounter with profound depth. As each day unfolds, a deeper understanding grips your consciousness, underscoring the interconnected tapestry of lives lived under this code. Tasks are accomplished not merely through rote duty, but with intentional commitment, the essence of honor, born of action, and choice forged bravely in each moment. You find solace in this understanding that, while each step brings you closer to uncertain fate, the journey itself erects a scaffold for something greater than simple existence. Being part of this living concord becomes a duty in itself, where honor and worth spring eternal, and minds harbor the assurance that breath taken today shores promise, yet unborn. Thus, the Viking code of honor shapes not merely the world you traverse upon an endless sea, but the intricate passage from whom you embark, instilling pride and resilience bred in every shared tale and echoed wisdom between helm and harter, legacy crafted not just in valor, but in living, breathing humanity itself. As your days unfurl aboard the Viking warship, another dimension of this storied society reveals itself, a facet often overshadowed by the clamor of battle and the rhythmic drone of oars. It is the role of women in this robust milieu, a dynamic that nuances the otherwise sharply drawn world of warriors and conquests. Beneath the hardened exterior of Viking culture flows a deep undercurrent of female resilience and influence, which, although often obscured by history's shifting shadows, plays a vital role both on and off the turbulent seas. In this world, Norse women hold a place that balances the weight of duty with surprising autonomy. Though Viking society is largely patriarchal, women wield significant influence, contributing to both the domestic and martial aspects of life. Their presence, albeit often indirect, permeates every action, every decision, shaping the very foundation upon which this seafaring culture thrives. On coastal settlements, women are the stewards of homesteads, assuming full responsibility while the menfolk sail into the unknown. Their expertise ranges from managing households to handling the complexities of trade, all conducted with a deftness of hand and a keen economic acumen. Indeed, a common saying resounds that a household prospers not merely by the breadth of its longship, but by the wisdom of its mistress, marking a recognition that an effective helmswoman rivals any helm-wielding mariner. Off the shores, their influence threads through the very fabric of the community. Women dedicated to spiritual practices, those like the Seithkanur, known for their magical and healing archhold esteemed roles, providing guidance and insight into the sometimes inscrutable paths of destiny. Their offerings of wisdom and foresight are sought after with reverence, marking them as essential participants in the communal narrative, their whispers carried by the wind through hall and hearth, influencing decisions and destiny alike. Then, of course, there are the shield maidens, those few women who choose to embrace the path of battle directly alongside their male counterparts. Their courage echoes as legendary, figures often shrouded in both myth and reality. These women reject conventional boundaries, wielding weapons not as figures of law but as warriors in their own right. Stories of formidable shield maidens like Lagertha permeate the Skalds' tales, forging a legacy filled with strength, fearlessness, and the compelling reminder that the Norse spirit transcends gender's binds. Within the ship's culture, correspondence with women offers respite from the sinews of the sea through letter-carved runic messages during landfalls, imbued with news, warmth, and cherished familiarity. It's a connection bearing testament to everyday alliances, shaping life against the imposing backdrop of maritime stature, while familial bonds often direct and sustain crews during their epic voyages. Humor, that trusted companion, reveals yet another side of this dynamic, providing levity and critique in equal measure. Jests often embellish stories of domestic antics or bawdy tales of mischief, their fabric woven with the fond exasperation of everyday life. Such humor underscores the implicit acknowledgement that, while men venture forth in search of glory and wealth, women anchor the tide, knowing full well that the helm of life requires vigilance alongside wisdom, persuasive beyond strength alone. Historians continue to unravel the unique threads of female influence in Viking society, pondering its ambiguity and prestige from ancient lore to modern analysis. Was this prominence a localized phenomenon, an exception rather than a norm, or does it hint at a broader recognition of varied roles women played in shaping this fiercely independent culture? What emerges is a nuanced image. While power structures often favor patriarchal decisions, women's voices resonate within those very walls, wielding influence both subtle and profound. As you absorb these impressions, the understanding grows richer, underscoring a reality not of clear-cut dominance, but a balanced dance zone where every actor, regardless of gender, plays an indispensable role within the greater chorus. This subtle harmony stitches its legacy into the storied sail, guiding the ship's path just as surely as the skillful hand upon the rudder. You look toward the horizon with fresh insight, acknowledging that alongside the tales of warriors and conquests exists a parallel, equally unyielding tapestry of endurance zone that shapes the journey, anchoring determination amid tumultuous seas. Through the voices of women, whether in daily management or reflected in mythic legends, the Viking narrative broadens, revealing that behind every oar's pull, every shore's exploration, are the guiding, determined hands that steer destinies far beyond the reach of the restless, echoing surf. As you continue your journey alongside the Viking crew, the echoes of the past and future intermingle, highlighting yet another dimension of this complex society. The lively debates and collective decision-making convened within the ship's assembly. The council gathering of minds and voices serves as a cornerstone of Viking life, embracing both egalitarian ideals and a pragmatic approach to governance amid the unpredictability of open seas. The ship's assembly is convened at both crucial junctures and during the quieter passages of the voyage. It's a vibrant testament to a society that, while rooted in strong leadership, values the wisdom found in shared perspectives. Gathered on the long wooden benches under the open sky, the crew transforms into an oarsman's thinger forum where ideas clash and ideas merge, polishing decisions to a sheen akin to worn weaponry. In these councils, every crew member is given space to speak, from the most veteran herdman to the newest carl. The proceedings are marked by a distinct dialogical rhythm, voices rising and falling in comradeship and contention, where strategy and opportunity are hashed out with a transparency as open as the vast sea surrounding you. Here, amidst spirited discourse, you learn firsthand that authority, while respected, doesn't exclude the collective voice. The council represents a perfect blend of tradition and progressive meritocracy. Often, animated discussions spring forth from matters as critical as forthcoming raids, choices of trading partners, or considerations of potential threats. Each topic unlocks unique layers of discourse. Anticipation simmers beneath practical logistics as every idea gestures towards the collective navigation away from the routine and into the extraordinary. Here, strategy becomes interwoven with human emotion, where reasoned arguments shine alongside imaginative daydreams. These discussions are peppered with humor, serving as both catalyst and balm. Although disagreements are unavoidable, laughter frequently permeates the air, momentarily diffusing tension while underscoring each participant's humanity. Sarcastic remarks emerge like bubbles from the depths, allowing poignant commentary that respects both individuals and the strength in numbers. Whether it's a jest about the Jarl's meticulous planning or a wry quip regarding past mishaps, humor lightens the gravity, creating an atmosphere conducive to both contemplation and levity. Such moments reveal the interplay between governance and community, each man or woman recognizing their integral part in a life sustained by unity and mutual accountability. Gratitude finds its voice through the spirited debates, manifesting in the recognition that without these gatherings, direction fades and purpose withers beneath the shifting skies. A particular discussion captures the crew's collective heart. You find yourself amidst an intense debate over whether to seek trade or pursue further raids in an unfamiliar port. The pros and cons are meticulously weighed, and as you witness the intricate exchange, it becomes thrilling to feel your own ideas respected and valued within the miasma of strategy and intuition. Historians still contemplate the extent to which egalitarian principles ingrained in Norse governance influenced broader Viking expeditions. Do these forums signify an enlightened quest for consensus, or pragmatism confronting the challenges of an itinerant lifestyle? Even amid historical discourse, it becomes evident that the Council plays a crucial role in maintaining internal harmony amidst uncertainty. As consensus begins to emerge, gingerly nurtured plant pushing through the grit testimony to the strength of diverse voices, channels paths opened beyond storms and skepticism alike. The collaborative atmosphere, where even opposing viewpoints earn respect, stands as a testament to the strength of community and how decision-making propels the ship beyond tumult to mutual triumph. You return to your tasks enlightened, renewed appreciation, breathing substance into each routine stroke of the oar or tightening of rigging. No longer do you feel solitary against the sea's immensity. Instead, the sound of your mate's counsel lingers within you, a reminder that solutions arise as much from singular stirrings of insight as from a chorus robust and confident. As the warship sails forward, charting a course honed by shared wisdom and resolve, you perceive the assembly not merely as practical necessity, but as the embodiment of enduring fellowship. The council becomes a guiding echo, persuasive and silent, lighting the path ahead with democracy at the heart, its enduring legacy buoyed on every wave cresting against the resolute hull. And through the collective, the Viking spirit once more strides boldly into the narrative currents of history's ever-twined embrace. As the Viking warship sails steadily onward, guided by the collaborative decisions forged in the throes of spirited debate, the focus shifts once more, highlighting the wider tapestry of Viking life, a world not solely defined by conquest, but also shaped by strategy, diplomacy, and the intricate dance of onshore schemes and trade. This aspect of Viking society, often unheralded amid the clamour of battle, reveals that beneath the surface runs a current of cunning commerce and deft negotiation. Upon reaching new shores, the transition from warrior to trader is almost seamless. The crew exchanges their weapons for goods, revealing another crucial dimension of their identity. The same strategic minds that plotted raids and sea routes now engage in the almost theatrical interplay of barter and deal-making. The market, whether a bustling port or a secluded coastline, becomes a stage where opportunity and shrewdness converge. Viking trading extends beyond mere monetary exchange. It's a meeting of minds wherein dialogue becomes the tool sharper than any weapon. In a world lacking standardized currency, transactions unfold through keen negotiation skills, where reputation proves as valuable as any tangible sum. As you observe the seasoned traders work their magic, it becomes evident that here words wield the power to bind alliances and sow future fortune. The goods they trade reflect a multicultural sophistication, gathered from myriad lands. Amber from the distant Baltics, exotic spices from the east, furs from the icy north, and finely wrought jewelry all pass through their hands, each piece carrying echoes of distant civilizations. The ship transforms into a marketplace of wonders, offering a rare glimpse into the soul of an age defined by connection and cultural exchange. As the crew engages with locals, the face of Viking diplomacy emerges an art form blending cunning negotiation with moments of genuine trust. Occasionally, jests pepper the exchanges, warming the chill of commerce with shared laughter. It's in these lighter moments that bonds are forged, revealing the universal humanity behind traders' carefully calculated faces. This deft dance of words holds sway over many negotiations. It is a scene removed, yet connected to Conquesta paradox, where strategy bends toward peace, offering mutual respect over martial prowess. Yet, the complexities of Viking trade cannot be understated. Whether driven by demand or leveraging scarcity, each Viking aptly embodies adaptability's essence, where the ability to pivot proves just as valued as the piked jabs of warfare. Each bartered item tells a story. A quirky artifact might become the humorous centerpiece of an evening's tale. Perhaps an unusual figurine purportedly depicting a strange god sparks laughter, yet trades hands with deference, becoming part of the multifaceted narrative, bridging ocean-spanning tongues and vast distances. Though Viking notoriety often scatters shadows with tales of raids, historians continue to unearth the intricacies of their trade networks. Were these ventures driven purely by mercantile gain, or did they represent a broader cultural synthesis connecting disparate worldviews through exchange? As the bustling marketplace surrounds you, it becomes evident that beyond plunder lies curiosity and persistent yearning to channel exploration's promise through goods and shared experiences. You quickly learn to decipher the language of trade, adjusting your approach to vary between decisive negotiation and subtle tranquility. Each item exchanged, each verbal contract sealed across clapped hands, subtly reshapes relationships, thinning the perceived barriers of culture with each gracious nod or encouraging smile. Upon returning to the ship, laden with goods and stories, you see the Viking enterprise in its entirety, balance of martial prowess, cultural instinct, and skilled rhetoric harmonized within a broad, interconnected worldview. In both conquests and commerce, your odyssey becomes interlinked with a narrative of human endeavor larger than the sum of its parts, emphasizing adaptability not merely as survival, but as an inherent strength. As the waves carry you from one horizon to the next, the Viking spirit endures, now colored with both steel and silken threads. With each transaction and conversation echoing through the ship's wooden seams, a deeper knowledge solidifies the understanding that at its heart, the Viking journey is defined not merely by destinations or victories, but by the relationships it sculpts amid the tides of commerce and the steep cliffs of culture. And so, the ship sails onward, trade winds urging it forward, with each embroidered sail chronicling the persistence of its purposeful journey and odyssey, not just of conquest, but of connection and discovery, resonating through the ages. As the warship continues its sweeping traversal across the cool, rippling expanse of the sea, another dimension of Viking life reveals itself, whispering through the murmuring tides and fastened with the fierce loyalty of companions. The intricacies of alliances, of fealty and frenemies, become apparent, an ever-present undercurrent shaping encounters and defining destinies. In a world where both peril and opportunity wait on every shore, the bonds and rivalries forged are as multifaceted as the shimmering scales of a fish caught within the northern streams. In Viking society, alliances extend themselves beyond mere agreements. They become woven tapestries of honor and obligation, built upon trust that both holds steadfast and shifts like sand beneath a tumultuous sea. Whether through ancestral ties, political marriage, or mutually beneficial pacts, these bonds are crafted with careful deliberation, ensuring stability and protection as the crew traverses the unpredictable landscape of raiding and trading. Even within the ship you call home, the shifting sands of loyalty become visible as fealty manifests differently within the hierarchy. Trust among the Jarl's inner circle is a currency treasured and tested. Friendships that might seem as impervious as the iron of their axes are also resilient, yet delicate, strengthened through shared experiences, but occasionally strained under the strain of ambition and human nature. Yet, for every stalwart ally gleaming in the golden glow of campfire tales, there lurks the potential for treachery. Vikings, acutely aware of the duplicities of men, remain ever watchful for the subtleties of shifting loyalties. It is said that today's friend can easily morph into tomorrow's foe, a truth both cautionary and liberating, revealing the dual nature of human tear-stethering individuals through both sinew and suspicions. This complex dance extends to rival clans and kingdoms met upon the voyage. When entering foreign lands, the crew becomes attuned to the subtleties of social navigation, a kind of art, where reading the temperature of potential allies requires as much dexterity as steering through a storm. Diplomacy and rivalry flank one another closely, the equivalent of Viking chess played across wild expanses, where each move contains the seeds of triumph or ruin, a strategy honed through generations, revealing age-old wisdom and deeply human intrigue. Skalds speak of ancient agreements held through generations and broken promises mended only by the strength of unity found in mutual goals. Each story recited not only embodies historical memory, but imparts lessons, aloud stories, colored by humor, poking gentle fun at familial feuds that turned but impacted subsequent peace accords, witticisms lightening the burden of fateful decisions. Amid this fraught realm, individual agency flourishes. Each Viking plays a role in strengthening or fracturing these bonds, moments in which acts of kindness or shared glory forge alliances stronger than any iron-worked contract. When loyalties are openly declared, laughter rejuvenates, spirits filling the air with comedic respite and mutual understanding, illustrating that even the mightiest empires are composed of human hearts deserving of trust. Historians continue to explore the extent to which Vikings used these alliances to construct strategic networks, imposing not merely through force, but with the flexibility of true statesmanship. Were these practitioners of cunning diplomacy merely opportunists or custodians of a complex, interconnected world? On board the ship, each bargaining session and gesture communicates that neither view stands alone deep, ties nurtured through trade and tribalism, defining survival and growth beyond the battlefield. As your journey entwines with Viking life's unyielding saga, you become adept at interpreting the nuanced vocabulary of allegiance. Each whispered suggestion from friend to foe embodies the lesson that your path, perilous or promising, is taken one heartbeat at a time, sowing tales across Judas, kisses and oaths blood-bound. In the twilight glow that casts shimmering shadows upon the rhythmic rise and dip of the ocean, you realize how deeply interwoven the motives and desires of those around you are. The Panama of your own purpose intersects with others, each delicate step promising treasures greater than single gold or gemstone riches, measured in brilliantly human connection, bound collectible, across the ever-shifting tableau of these tempestuous alliances. Amid each swell and lull of the encompassing sea, you find solace in knowing that even as the landscape of loyalty twists and turns beyond reckoning, the Viking spirit, modelled through perseverance and resiliency, stands unbowed, its voice woven into the ceaseless chorus, urging onward unto stars in open endlessness, a song of freedom and fate, both silvered with friendship and cloaked in caution, beneath even time's unending arc. As your travels press onward across the vast, unyielding sea, the days and nights blend into one continuous rhythm, a testament to both the endurance and evolution of the human spirit. Reflecting upon the many trials and victories you've experienced aboard the Viking warship, the theme of resilience comes into sharper focus, revealing itself as a multifaceted gem within the heart of Viking life. It's clear now how this monumental spirit of resilience has allowed both the individual and the collective to endure against the often daunting adversities of their age. Each member of the crew embodies this resilience in their own unique way, painting a vivid tapestry of diverse strengths interwoven through the fabric of this seafaring saga. From the steadfast Jarl, whose leadership steers the ship and its people towards promised horizons, to the humblest of thralls, whose quiet fortitude shines silently but brightly, the Viking spirit thrives through unity and personal vigor. In body and mind, resilience shows through daily routines marked by discipline. The burly oarsman, his hands calloused by countless hours of tireless rowing, finds relief in the camaraderie that springs from shared toil. This collective endurance fosters vibrant bonds of community, where laughter and jest serve as both release and anchor, mooring spirits against the battering waves of hardship. The whispers of adversity and hardship linger around each night, darkened corner, countered by songs of old ancestors and tales of mythical feats. The Skalds' words, both fierce and uplifting, reinforce the understanding that hardship and glory exist as two sides of the same coin. Here, within these stories, humor provides relief from intensity, turning shadows into friends with its soft, forgiving light. The amusement found in misadventure is celebrated, a reminder that failure is merely a prelude to triumph. Nature, ever a formidable adversary, demands respect and resilience from its unlikely steward, a lesson written in every salt-crusted line on a Viking master's face. Storms once dreaded become challenges faced with fearless determination, for a deeper understanding grows. Between survival and thriving lies adaptation informed by nature's rhythms. Amid this resilience, innovation's spark flares brightly, enabling resourcefulness to replace futility. When a tool breaks, it repairs quickly with ingenuity born of necessity. When illness strikes, the crew rallies, transforming herbs into healing balms. Here, ingenuity thrives, suggesting that cleverness and courage feed from one another as known by this ancient mariner tradition's wealth. Historians still dissect the extent of Viking pragmatism's role in their enduring legend. Was their resilience birthed purely from necessity, or was the desire for exploration and understanding an equally guiding force? As restructuring unfolds before you, remnants bear testimony to indomitable spirit's complex web, likening pride to lesson. Through all this, the individual seeks solace in subtle remissio moments calm, in which to look upon the horizon, observing reflection mirrored against quiet shoal. Here, gentle resolve finds ongoing resonance, reiterating what idols and oaths first state, that each struggle extends beyond realms present, and instead secures itself amidst eternity of resilience, remembered forevermore upon time's eternal canvas. As day turns once again to tranquil evening, you realize that the Viking spirit, encompassing everything from humor and hope to adversity and triumph, tells the most vivid narratives through its tenacious resilience. A promise rests within that legacy, not only to endure, but also to inspire growth, as endless waves scroll stories upon the lives who journey forward beneath time's grand expanse. Thus, buoyed by confident purpose and seasoned insight, the journey progresses, onwards to new adventures, ushering you towards the horizon line where history and mystery meet. And with every step into the uncertain future, the heart remains unwavering, resilient beat, and a fierce resolve, both echoing in songs immortal, scribed upon a world woven into souls who cherish and endure through unyielded time. With the journey reaching its zenith, the Viking warship, a living testament to the resolute spirit of its crew, sails onward, heralding the closure of this extraordinary voyage. As you stand upon the deck and breathe in the cool, salt-laden air, the entirety of the experience comes into focus. The knowledge gained, the bonds formed, and the timeless lessons ingrained all coalesce into a narrative that transcends the tangible confines of the ship's wooden hull, a testament to the indomitable spirit of the Vikings. Returning to port is never a simple end, but rather a beginning anew. Here, amidst the bustling quays and the excited reunions of loved ones, the tales of the sea come to life, woven into the fabric of everyday life and carried forward through generations. It is in these retellings that the rich tapestry of human experience finds its most vibrant expression, a quilt of shared hardships, victories, and the ceaseless quest for understanding. With every stride upon solid ground, the steel and sinew of the journey behind you remain, subtly shaping the path ahead. Each lesson learned, whether through the unwavering code of honor, the delicate balance of alliance and rivalry, or the enduring bond forged in the crucible of common purpose, harbors its own echoing value. They reinforce that in life, as with the turbulent sea, navigation requires both courage and adaptability, the oars of perseverance dipped into waters of determination. Now, as the ship moors, releasing its seasoned crew to the arms of waiting kin and to tales yet untold, a wind-down coalesces within you. With every heartbeat, rhythm slows, and a softer melody emerges, an interlude of gratitude enveloping the surrounding tapestry of the lived adventure. Rest assured, the lessons of the Viking world flow into the soul like an ancient river, steadfast and quietly strong. As the sea's lullaby fades and the echoes of your voyage retreat into the storied landscape of memory, reassurance takes hold, knowing that the spirit of the Vikings, eternal as the stars, guides you past geographies, tangible and imagined. Each gentle wave that laps against the dock whispers of both challenges met and adventures left to pursue. Tonight, let the gentle embrace of time's gentle passage carry you onward. Drift softly upon the sea of dreams, where history's whispers quiet into a lullaby melody laced through the gentle rocking of your consciousness, borne upon centuries of seafaring souls amid life's endless odyssey. As you close your eyes, comfort embraces you like a well-traveled cloak. The melody of waves, once fiercely demanding, now fades into a serene backdrop, cradling you between shores of past and future. The journey has been long, but the lessons remain, intertwined within your being. With a heart full of both knowledge and quiet optimism, surrender to the tranquility that surrounds you. Let your breath find its natural rhythm, and allow the Nordic night skies to cast their reassuring glow across your dream's bright northern passage. Sweet dreams,